Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Peace Fund Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Good morning. I feel like I've been on a marathon.
Do you?
Yeah, how about you?
I feel pretty fantastic.
Pretty fantastic, that's always good.
Yeah, I'm coming off a very nice week.
Did you? How was your event on the weekend?
For me, it was it's an amazing experience, but for me, it was probably our best event I think we've ever done of all of them. I mean, the concert was pretty epic, and that concert actually that you were at is going to run on Time Warner Channel 20 for the rest of the month.
Is it really?
Yeah, so you can catch some holiday cheer. But I think, both our causes are great. Mine has an immediate impact right there on the site with the homeless kids, and it was probably our best event, best turnout, and an amazing assortment of volunteers and creative people. I mean, it just blows you away what things can become,
Yeah, because you started this, 4 years ago, wasn't it?
3 years ago, but it's the fourth event. It confuses people. We've done it 4 times, which, when you think about it, that's 4 days.
I know.
That's less than, an NFL off-season mini camp. So
tell me a little bit about what happened. What was the event about, and how did it?
Well, I mean, it has the same format it always has. We bust in about 300 to 400 homeless children, Polar Express style. We did 3 organizations: Bridge to Home, the Shelter for Domestic Violence, and Lutheran Social Services, whose office burned down. We brought them in there. We had about 70 to 80 cosplayers, stormtroopers, Disney princesses, and we dropped a broadcast desk. We rolled everything out. We were there at 5 in the morning. It was hilarious. We had an operational C-3PO, which blew me away. Voice,
an operational
C-3PO? Yes. Could talk. It greeted everyone as they came through the door, and it blew the kids away. I mean, we've had Wall-E for the last few years, which moved and talked and communicated. But having an operational C-3PO and R2-D2 in the entryway was just like, kind of just stunned me to see it, I mean, you've been to the event, and you had your own noble cause to pursue. I think you were plastering people in your own valiant attempt to make the world a better place, which is very, very impressive as always. But you had a different set of logistical challenges. I mean, I don't think I have the kids. It's interesting. Your event's public, mine is private. You raise money to help the kids through your channels. I have the kids right there.
Right.
So it was it's just a completely different experience.
Yeah, it's totally different. I mean, we had 2 days this weekend.
I can't believe you survived it.
I can't believe I survived it either, to be totally honest.
Well, I mean, I guess that's coming out wrong, because we do know you can take care of yourself and you're in good shape. But I mean, 2 days of planning the event and then making sure the event goes.
No, I'm not saying. What do you mean 2 days of planning? You mean like 10 months of planning it, and then a venue
2 days
date
on the ground. yes, there was the venue date. That was
tough. That was a tough challenge. I mean, we had a great turnout. Celebrities. We had a lot of great celebrities come out. We had two days of fun actually, and it was. When it's your first event, you see all the little things that you can adjust. I've actually got a meeting tomorrow as to how to adjust them. But
the
debriefing, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we had some really great things happening. We had some, as I said, great celebrities down there. The paintball park down at Camp Pendleton was so gracious. They really sort of guided us through many of the areas.
Good.
We had Nate Brandon, who actually was the games coordinator, came over from the East Coast, flew in for it. With his wife Rachel, and they did a great job, organizing it. And the 2-day event was really cool because it was we had all these different things to happen on 2 different days. Our social media went through the roof.
Yeah, it does with these events, doesn't it?
No, I'm talking about we actually trended on Twitter.
Good.
So it was actually huge for us, which was great. And there's a lot of photos coming out now appearing. Nefariously, I guess, different places.
I don't know how nefarious it all is. To be honest with you, I mean, it's a fantastic cause, and it's the one thing we kept saying over and over again about what you were doing was that it was of tremendous value. It wasn't just a great fundraiser. You didn't get shortchanged for being involved.
I mean, that was the thing. I mean, everybody came off of there and went, oh my gosh, this is an amazing event. And, they all the celebs say, I want to do this again, I want to do this again. That's the only thing you can really do.
You must do it again.
It was funny because the first day was absolutely everybody split into teams because that was the idea, to split into teams, as well as doing some of the challenges, which was a bow and arrow challenge, the 2-man challenge, the tank challenge, which was the
how was that tank?
That was actually fun, actually. But we had everybody working on the competition that day, and then when we were able to take some breaks, we actually went on to that because it was a law rocket. It's like a bazooka with a ball and with a rocket with a like a feather on the back of it, like a dart. And I fired the thing and it goes far. It's like, boom.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my gosh. So it went firing up the hill, and the idea was, we had to get a sniper up there, and you had to hit the tank, which took the sniper out and won you the challenge in a sense. So that was really fun. It was and the funny thing was all the little things that happened within it. We had pros there as well. We had experienced paintballers. We had non-professionals. We had celebrities, and you really see that. You think pro paintball, but you really see how these guys move.
Yeah.
Their whole technique, they take you out in a second. It's like, oh gosh, I did get a couple of them, but it doesn't matter. The idea is you come back in all the time, and their technique, it's very linear. It's very tactical and stuff, and watching the way they actually hold the gun and turn the barrel around a corner and stuff like that, it's kind of really interesting.
I'll tell you, if you can get me to it all sounds really impressive and really amazing. However, as soon as you ask me to put down a cup of coffee early in the morning, you're pushing it. So I'm really impressed that you guys got out there fatigued up and honestly did it for a great cause.
Now you have to understand these celebrities left LA at 6:30 in the morning to come down this.
What time did the game start? What was go time?
Well, the game started about 11:30 actually. By the time we had because the first day was a lot of press, so we had all the orientation and stuff, and we could have done with a few more bodies on the ground to actually sort of help that go through. And now we've got a better indication because the park's spread out, so we had to, decide where we were putting the celebrities.
Is that where you're going to do it next year?
We'll see. Yeah. I think they did a great job for us. We've already had a request from the East Coast to actually hold one on the East Coast. So that's kind of positive.
If this commute
no, but the thing is to do it into different places. That's the thing, to actually do the Peace Fun Games, because the Peace Fun Games can be anything. It can be any type of idea.
The Olympics.
Exactly. You've got different styles. This one was all about the Hunger Games. Maybe we do another Hunger Games style one later next year, but I don't know. Maybe we do a different one that's based on...
I think you should do Terminator.
Well, there you go. There's Terminated. So that's,
And have everyone have to unite against the machine.
So there's...
Good practice for the future.
Oh, gosh. You got a dim outlook, don't you?
I just know what's coming.
Oh, dear.
Anyway, but I'm glad. I'm still... And how was it working with the Marine base?
They were actually... we didn't have a lot of contact with them. We had a few Marines come out. The Marine base was actually, they let you on the base and there's no problem. We actually didn't have a lot of contact with them, so I can't answer that question directly because that's mainly Sean's from the paintball park who had the direct contact with them. But there were a lot of other people in the park as well. There were so many groups playing paintball, and the funny thing was it did. I've got a couple of little marks still. You
got tagged.
Oh, I got tagged a few times. I got one on the top of my head a couple of times. I was like, because I had and one of the Marines says to me, he says, "Yeah, that's why I wear a hat backwards underneath my hat, because you must wear a visor, right?" And but he puts a baseball cap underneath his visor, turned backwards, so it doesn't get the back of his head, because the visor are open in the back. Because what you've got to protect are your eyes. That's the main thing when you get on a paintball park. You've got to protect those eyes. Yeah. And they are very strict there about, the minute you raise put that back on, don't do this. And
you have referees running around town.
Yeah, absolutely. There were refs running around all the time, making sure that the safety was taken care of. And our main ref, John, was an ex-sergeant. You could tell. He really, he ran the games very, very well, and they've obviously done this millions of times, and they have lots of groups coming through. Mm-hmm. But, a couple of the tags were and the funny thing was the pros, when you have a paintball gun, you can shoot at 10 a second or 30 a second. Now, 30 a second, okay, 10 a second is this. 30 second is it's like you get hit by like this. So what they had to do was turn their ramps down at the beginning of every game. They actually, see the speed of the paintball gun, and so everybody turn it. But they still, because there's a whole technique to it too. They call it walking the trigger.
Have you done a lot of paintball prior to this?
No, not. I have done paintball, but I haven't done a huge amount of paintball in the past 10, 15 years at all. Actually, I haven't done none. But I had a great time. The funny thing was on the last day, because as I said, it was 2 days. The first day was, the teams playing each other. And then the second day was the red team against the blue team. Gary Keegan's team against my team.
Now, how did that turn out? Who won?
Okay. I'll explain what happened.
Well, I just asked who won.
No, I'll just explain what happened.
Asked who won.
I know you did.
So she won.
I know you did.
She won.
I know
obviously.
you did. I know exactly.
If there's an explanation coming.
No. So the first game was take the castle. Was take the castle. The first one was take the castle. And
are you out the moment you're hit?
Yes, but for 5 minutes. But I'll explain what happened because it worked so well. We have to streamline it, but I'll explain it. What happened? The first game on the Sunday was take the castle, and that was two teams going against each other. Mm-hmm. And we raised the flag first. We went in there, but we lost it 4-3 in the first game. You also get tagged on points if you get overrun by the other team, and as how many times you actually raise the flag. There's certain points taken. So in the second match, even though we raised the flag and it was left even, we were behind on points going into the third and final match. We were 30 points down. So what was happening during the day, we were also using our online cards. Now, these online cards were things like parachute, basically aid. In other words, if I had one of these cards and I got shot, I could show the ref and I could stay in the game without going out for 5 minutes. Or I could actually advance a certain section prior to the match starting. So we had all these cards on this. And we also had one which was very valuable, and I'll explain why in the very last one, which was getting rid of a player. If you had this card, it was actually get rid of a player. So if a player was giving you trouble on the other end, you could actually get rid of him with this card. Now, all these cards were donated online, and it worked really, really well because in the third and final game, it was Kerry Keegan's team going ahead for 30 points ahead of us, and we went out there and took the field apart.
Okay.
The blue team won. Yes, thank you. The blue team did win. But I tell you why it actually probably did win was one of those cards. Because what happened was we overran them, and then they came back a little bit. And at one point, one Marine who came in, they'd taken us out, and he was running for the flag, and I pulled the card out on him, so he wasn't able to pull the flag. That might have been the difference between win or lose. We won by 25 points, I think it was, something like 30 points. So it was but let me tell you, Carrie's team, actually Carrie was on the runners-up of the day before on the individual competition. So everybody, celebrities and everybody had a great time because it was there was so much going on. People were talking about, oh, I can't believe I got hit there, and I can't believe he took me out, and So there was a lot to learn from it. And there was a lot to gain from it because we, in our debrief, we'll figure out some of the things that we can improve on for the next time.
Yeah, well, it's always an evolutionary process, and you just, you kind of get to the point in these events. With our Christmas breakfast, for sure, in the first year, it kind of took on a life of its own, and you just realize you just have to establish it and do it.
Right.
And then you can fine-tune it. It's like the artist has to get the clay and just start sculpting.
Well, that is true. I mean, it's it is a work in progress because you don't know it all, even though because especially this format really allowed the online people. We also had it streaming on Sunday. The last games we had it streaming online, so you could watch the finals on the Sunday. So when you're streaming it, when you're actually having to deal with the online portion, how it actually affects the game, you had to figure out the way to do it. What worked? How did you get the online donations to the players? How did it affect the games? Could it change the strategy?
Who was in charge of all that?
Well, that's why we had first of all, the way it worked was we had the MBBL was our our event coordinator, and they had all the information coming down online, and then they were drawing it out on the computers down at the park. They would give the information to the games director, who was Nate Brandon, who would have the cards, and he would hand them out and say, prior to the game, he would come up to the players and say, "Hey, Nate Adams, you've got a save me card here, you've got an advance card here, and Adrian, you've got this card, and do you want to use them?" So we would have them. The generals would have them on the last day. And you'd have them, and you could use them when you wanted to use them.
And you gave yourself the rank of general, correct?
Well, I did not give myself that rank. It was given General Kerry Keegan and General AP. Yeah, that was the way it is.
General EP or General AP?
Well, EP, AP. Depends how you want to look at it.
But the rank of general was, in the United States military, Congress has to approve your rank of general. Now, who approved you to be the leader?
Since this was the Peace Fun Games, ranking was actually approved.
I think that's technically a dictatorship. I think that's very Pinochet-like to say just because, But I gotta tell you, I saw a really heroic effort from you, in all seriousness, to get this thing going for months. So I'm glad it was the success that it was for you. You certainly deserve it, and certainly the kids you helped deserve it. So
I also want to give a shout out to all the celebrities that actually turned up and drove down there. Some drove down there on their own, and
the volunteers,
the volunteers, and the people that came out to volunteer was fantastic. I mean, we have, and thank you to some of our sponsors, TYR, they're a hydration drink company, fabulous. They donated a whole bunch of stuff. Rec Rents, who gave us the golf carts. Glacier Group, Michael Mercury and Tate Sims, musicians. There are a lot of people to thank, as well as the Best Western. And now that the Best Western plus Palms, where we actually put all the celebs up, is a brand new hotel, great little hotel. The manager Chris was awesome. He helped. The customer service was fantastic in Oceanside, and so any of you ever in Oceanside, go down to this hotel. It's a great little hotel, well run, very clean, brand new, and it doesn't look like a lot of other Best Westerns that you would imagine. So a big shout out to them. Obviously, all the people that were involved, MBBO, as I said, all the Peace Fund volunteers, all our social media people that ran the event on the ground, because we had 4 people running it on the Saturday. We had 2 or 3 running it on the Sunday, but then they had a team offline that were actually helping us, promote these tweets and putting them all out there. So some of our board members came down. Bev Shahara came down. We had Ron Myers come down. We had Raymond King come down. So we had a lot of people that were supporters, even from the fund itself. So that was a really good...
I think John Beerley should be your general next year.
John Beerley, that would be an interesting... Actually, you know what? This is the thing.
I'm ready.
Well,
I'm ready.
John, you have to understand something. Somebody has to now take me off the top spot, because since I won the games, next year's games, general has to come in and challenge me. So I'm challenging anybody out there to take me off the top spot. There it goes. It's out there already. It's out there already.
It's hard to be at the top because everybody's always trying to knock you off. It's
we also had HK Arnie come out. We had they had a lot of their players who are it's a great company. They put out a lot of their players to support us. A lot of the pros came in from Dynasty. I think it's San Diego Dynasty. So there's a lot of different plus other pro teams came out as well. So. Thank you to all you guys that supported us, because, it made the games understandable to us, novices in a sense, what you guys do, and, I think it's a great platform to show people that haven't played the games what the games are all about, as well as Aerogun. Aerogun is was the bow and arrow paintball one we had, and that was, you can see a lot of us using it. It was a bow and arrow that was a paintball. Very accurate once you got used to the sighting of it. It's like anything; you have to kind of figure out how to use it. But it's very fast and very accurate once you get it. It's one ball at a time. It's more of a sniper thing, I would say.
Who are some of the celebrities on your team, Adrian?
Luke Benward. There was Angelique Bates. There was.
How did they do?
They did great.
Yeah,
they did great. My team won, of course, so they did it awesome.
Yeah,
they did it awesome. We had Eric Smoke Moran. We had Mark. Our friend Mark.
Wow,
Mark Ryan.
Ryan. God, I'm totally blanking. Mark, I'm sorry, man, dude. We had. How many others? We had Dalal, for the musician. She was actually on the other team. unfortunately for her. But let's obviously Carrie Keegan. There was the slew of celebrities we had down there. Was very impressive to actually have them come out and support it. A lot of them had no idea what the Peace Fund Games was about. They had no idea what the Peace Fund was about. So I think they got a little bit of an update in that respect. We had who else did we have there? We had Kyle Massey. We had, as I said, Luke Benwood. We had Walter Jones, Yancy Arias.
How did Walter Jones do?
Did good. I can't remember if I saw him actually. Did I see him? I think I saw him.
How do you know he did good if you didn't see him?
Because I was Ryan Edge also. Robbie Jones came down. Renee and Casey Nazoda from the Storage Wars were awesome. They were there for 2 days. Renee was beside himself, doing the paintball. He absolutely had a fantastic time. And Rachel Riley came down on the Sunday. As I said, Luke Benwood was on my team. Jackie Long came down. Jacqueline Taboni from Grimm was down there as well. Eugenia Cosmina. Amy I can never say Emmy's name. Actually, Emmy and I won the two-man challenge because we had a quick challenge of two or three other teams, and we won the two-man challenge, and I was happy about that bit. Brenda Villegas came down on the Sunday as well. Angelique Frenchie Morgan came down to actually support. It was so much fun. I'm sorry for some of you I haven't mentioned because
it's hard.
It's hard to remember everybody.
Well, you do remember it and you appreciate all of it, but at different times, I go through the same thing. The human mentality can only think of certain things. Everyone is owed a debt of gratitude. Everyone got involved, and no job is too small in an event like this.
Yeah, it's so true. The people that hung out and just ran stuff for us from backwards and forwards. It's a big thing. It's great to actually highlight some of these charities. I think we can probably highlight them better next year. Charities tackle some of society's most complex and intractable issues, if you like. That, like yours, deals with combating homelessness. There's others that do hunger and education and providing clean water. And without bringing awareness to these types of organisations, some of them go unnoticed. And I think it's important. It's important to actually bring light on them.
Well, that's part of why I think your games were so noble, because it was not only about what you do and what you do for the kids, but you gave everyone a chance to serve their own purposes and get involved collectively.
Well, that was the idea, was to talk about the charities that they support, to try and raise money for those charities.
That's very impressive. I got to give you credit sincerely on that.
Well, as opposed to unsincerely on other stuff.
Well, sometimes I'm not all that sincere when it comes to you. But no. In all reality, to be honest with you, to the Herculean effort it takes to pull off any event. Obviously, it's been the TED offensive for both of us at times, and it takes a lot. But I think when you plan something so big with such a noble cause at stake, and then outline it with the opportunity for people not just to get involved, but also support the charities that mean the most to them. That's a very complex and dynamic platform you're offering up, and I think it's pretty special.
Well, I think too, the thing that to also remember is that anybody can do this if you set your heart to it and you set your mind to it. I know how much you guys put into the events on the day of the events, but there's the massive amount of work that goes into the planning. There's the follow-up work after the event where you look at the event and say, okay, how did we do? What can we do better? It's an ongoing process, and I think it's a testament to how hard you guys work, and it's a testament to what any of us can accomplish if we set our minds to do it. If you believe in something, if you believe in yourself, there's literally no stopping anything that you want to do.
Did I say general?
It's General John Bealey.
Did I say general? I meant a propaganda minister.
Well, let me say, I've talked about, I did the Insanity workout. I just ordered Insanity Max. So by the time the next Peace Fund games roll around, I'm going to be able to run like 35 miles per hour.
Well, let me tell you, John.
I think a gambling sports book is in order.
Yeah, well, hold on. I just got to mention something. When you've got all the gear on top of you, you got the helmet, you've got the pads, you've got the belts, the packs, the this and that. Suddenly, you're weighing another 30, 40, 50 pounds.
Oh, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. There was one or two guys going out there bare-chested. And I went, what? you're getting hit by paintballs bare-chested. Okay, fine, whatever you want.
So I'm sure, though, you can feel it through when you have the padding and everything on, I'm sure you can still feel it, right?
You can feel it.
Big time. That's crazy.
There's marks that get left sometimes, depending on the speed of the balls and stuff. But I just want to bring back a little bit of something when we're talking about different charities and stuff. Most people when they go to a park or an urban park or whatever, they don't realize that charitable organizations are actually major contributors to gardens and playgrounds and paths and programs. I mean, there are so many things that people don't realize that what charities do. I mean, like parents receiving polio shots might not know the one charitable group led the campaign to develop and distribute the vaccine, and another one funded much of its development. So, non-profits contribute to every community in America. Everyone. Mm-hmm. Some programs started by non-profits, including libraries, schools, fire stations, many of which still use volunteers, and parks have been expanded by government. So it started by the non-profits, and that's why it's very important to actually support non-profits in your area and to understand who they are and what they do, because sometimes it gets larger, and some of these non-profits, as we've talked to before, John, in some of the Heroes of the Week, they have been instrumental in starting a program that suddenly a lot of people got behind, and it became a much more institutionalized type of program.
Absolutely. Happens all the time.
Right. So, I mean, charitable organizations, they've been partners through which government effectively and efficiently delivers services, such as we've talked about before, education programs, health clinics, drug counseling, and after-school programs, which, as well as are very, very important, because you actually don't have some programs in school that are available to kids now. So the kids need charitable organizations to go in there and create those programs so the kids get the right type of educational programs, such as music, which is one of the arts, which in some schools has been, eliminated.
Yeah, and we've got lots of really great kids who we've highlighted as Heroes of the Week who have worked really hard to bring musical education back in any way that they can. Ethan Cruikshank was one, for example, from Dettenmaier Hanover.org. He was, I think, 10 when his school's music program was canceled out from under him. So this 10-year-old gets together the different music teachers that he had worked with and that he had learned from, music teachers his little friends had learned from, and puts together this squadron of music teaching volunteers who have taught countless kids multiple instruments over the years. When the school funding disappeared, they took action and took it upon themselves to get the job done, and they've done it. We've got Little Kids Rock was one of the organizations that we worked with. Kimberly Moore has her music programs. We had Jocelyn Chang for Measures for the Future called in a few weeks ago and talked about the work that they're doing to bring music to children in shelters and boys and girls clubs, teach the children musical instruments so they can put on little concerts and things for their families. It's amazing what gets done when people put their mind to the task.
Yeah, I think. Well, the funny thing was, we also had down at the event this weekend Luke Goss, and Luke, as you remember, was the person that sat in this studio over a year ago and said,
fabulous actor too.
Yeah, and said to me, "Well, we started discussing paintball and stuff. So we should do a celebrity paintball thing." And I went, "Ooh, that sounds like a really good idea." And that's where Peace Fun Games really started. And I mean, yes, it does. It does actually have to start somewhere and be, nurtured and brought along. But the idea has to start from some place, and it started here on Peace Fun Radio. And we're going to continue it because I think it worked really, really well. And Luke was down there this weekend supporting the event. He was there one day, couldn't make 2 days, unfortunately, but he was there for one day, and he had a great time. He was like, "Oh, I want to do this again," and so thanks, Luke, for coming, man. So I'm very pleased that it went out as it did. I just want to give you a little thing about the impact of charities throughout, throughout America. Without charities and non-profits, America would simply not be able to operate. And I hope you guys really understand that. Operations are so big that during 2013, the total giving was more than $335 billion. I'm going to let that sit for a second. That's what charities were able to create a giving camp in 2013, $335 billion. So the non-profit sector now encompasses about 1.5 million organizations, from universities to hospitals to environmental groups, and human service organizations alone account for nearly 1/3 of public charities. 1/3 are human service organizations. I'm sure that falls into the Lutheran Services category as well as human services, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. So those types of church groups that give to places that are social services places are a very big part of how this country's run, and you don't even see them or know about them, and you drive past them. Just have a think about that. The percentage of U.S. charitable giving that comes from individuals, not from companies, but from individuals, is 88%. The percentage of donors who want to know how their money will be used is 71%. One of the big things we always put out very much on the Peace Fund is how that money is used. And the last one, percentage of donors that spend less than 2 hours researching non-profits before giving, they spend less than 2 hours before giving, is 75%. Now, for those of you out there, the Peace Fund is also at present doing a GoFundMe campaign. You can go to the GoFundMe /Peace Fund, and you can see our GoFundMe campaign for the end of the year. It's a great tax donation write-off. It will go to some of the things that we are supporting currently, such as our Mercy and Sharing Kids, as well as our...
And also talk to your employers, people, to see if your employers will match your donations. It's a tax write-off for you and a tax write-off for your employer. And a lot of companies out there will do end-of-the-year charitable donation matching.
That's true, yes. So any of you out there that actually have given or have thought about giving, or have a little tax write-off, or even you just want to give because it's the holiday season, go to the GoFundMe /Peace Fund, and you can see where you can actually learn a little bit more about the Peace Fund too, because there's a great video, even though I'm in it. But it does inform you about what the Peace Fund does. I knew I'd get that one.
It's a great video. It highlights a lot of the charities that we've worked with. And it's also a great idea, too, as we're coming into the holiday season. It's a great idea for a Christmas gift. If you have somebody in your life who, we all know somebody who, it's like they don't want anything. They never do anything for themselves. They always do things for other people. Well, what would you like? What would you like as a gift? Oh, I don't want anything. I don't need anything. Make a donation in that person's name to the Peace Fund as a holiday gift. It will go toward helping some great causes and some great charities. And like I said, it's a great gift idea for that person who is difficult to buy for.
That's awesome. Thank you, John, for that shout out. I actually want to mention something else too. You mentioned Kimberly Moore before, and this Sunday on the 14th, she's chosen as this year's humanitarian honoree at the 16th annual WIN Awards.
It's awesome.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And this is the centerpiece features Kimberly and Joan Rivers. So she's been put in the same category as Joan Rivers, which is absolutely awesome, and she does deserve it. She spends so much time on helping kids, and there'll be guest comics demonstrating how their comedy was influenced by Joan Rivers. The past honorees of this are Angelina Jolie, Senator Barbara Baxter, Elizabeth Taylor, Helen Mirren, Ambassador Swanee Hunt, and Pierce Brosnan, and more. So this is an important award for her, and I think congratulations, Kimberly. You do absolutely deserve it, because I think the world needs more people that actually go out there and do what you do. So I had to say that because she needs it.
It's appropriate.
Indeed it is. Non-profits, as we were talking about. John, you how was your weekend, by the way? Did you follow the games?
Well, I did some following the games, and I also did some work on a top-secret project for Adrian. So,
yes, we'll talk about that afterwards. Yeah.
And I wished I could have been there. Seriously, if I could have afforded the plane ticket, I would have been out there. Absolutely, I hated having to miss it. But others, I'll do my best to make it out next year.
There will be others. And talking about events, I mean, obviously, Ethan here had his event, and did you have Santa there? By the way,
I have Santa, and I mean I have Santa, not someone pretending to be Santa.
No, I know you have Santa.
I have Santa. And he's been there 4 times for us. Yes, he had his sleigh. The fire department delivered him as always. Yes, he was there. Presents ready to go and out to the kids, and the rest went to Toys for Tots. And some of them are going over to social services today, actually, some of the leftover presents, because we did a toy drive and we got some really good ones. So for the kids that couldn't make our event, we're now going to social services to kind of distribute a collection of food and toys and some other things, continuing the flow of supplies, if you will.
Well, the interesting thing is charities that play Santa for the needy basically are, there's a lot of lower income families that don't get much over the holiday season.
Yeah.
That's why, obviously supporting Kimberly Moore in her Adopt a Letter campaign is very important, because you've got 46 million Americans on food stamps and nearly 49 million live in poverty. There are plenty of countries families across the country that will struggle to come up with a gift this season. So doing what you do, Ethan, doing what a lot of these other charities do is very important, because it does matter to people. Those moments, my mother's, and she never has memories of a good Christmas. And she never likes Christmas because of those memories. And she's like, Christmas, I kind of celebrate it for you guys, but, for me it's not. And I don't want to go into why that was, but there was something that happened. So for children and for families across America, they may need a little joy at Christmas, just to give them food or something in your area that there may be a toy drive, there might be a food drive, there might be something that these families need at Christmas that I think is very, very important. There are some big name charities that collect toys, and others. And they're on a national and global scale. There's the Salvation Army distributes new clothing, toys, and items to children and seniors through its Angel Tree program, in which donors pick up paper angel tags with the first name, the age and gender of the child in need.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's actually cool. The tags can list the items a child hopes to receive for Christmas, and donors shop to fill those requests. The tags usually hang on trees at shopping malls and at participating companies. The Angel Tree program provides toys for about 1 million children every year, and volunteers distribute the gifts to families and often deliver meals at the same time. Very much like Kimberly Moore's drive. She has a much smaller organisation, but she really does deliver to a lot of families over the Christmas period. So all kudos to the Salvation Army and to her. There's also one more, Samaritan's Purse, which helps victims of war, famine and natural disasters worldwide. Says its Operation Christmas Child is one of the world's largest Christmas projects. They ask people to pack a shoebox with small toys, school supplies, toothpaste and other items for children aged 2 to 14. The items are dropped off at participating sites around the country and then sent to regional processing centres and eventually to children overseas. The group has delivered more than 113 million shoebox gifts over the last 2 decades. And in most circumstances, these kids have never received a gift before.
And how great is it? Take a minute that people actually think to start these organizations.
That's
it's amazing.
That's what this is about.
We know
exactly.
the amount of work, and it's quite thankless. Most of the work, as you and I both know. I don't think people realize. They go, your Christmas event. It's December 6th. No, it's basically February through December 6th. It's just a humanity to see all these people contribute what must be 40, 60 hours a week at times. Just for helping other people. Very inspiring.
Yes, I agree.
Now, I'm actually looking through some of them now as you read them off, so it's interesting to see what some of these groups are doing.
Well, there's also, as you mentioned, Toys for Tots.
Great one. Well, they're with us every year.
Yeah, I know, and they partner with Toys R Us, Hasbro, and Build-A-Bear Workshop to collect and deliver toys to children in need. It was approved in 1995 by the Secretary of Defense as an official activity of the U.S. Marine Corps, as you mentioned before, and a year later expanded to all 50 states and have distributed nearly 500 million toys since it started. 500 million toys. That's a lot.
That 500 million toys?
500 million toys. Wow. John, I want to give you 2 minutes because you have a hero of the week this week. This week, don't you?
Hero time.
Yes, I do. This one is great. These stories they blow me away. The ingenuity and passion of these kids. Let's jump back in time a little bit to the year 2009. Ben Hirschfeld from Hastings-on-Hudson, New York, is 15 years old. And his neighbor just so happens to be author and educator Pam Allen, who founded an organization called LitWorld at litworld.org in 2007. Pam had gone to visit Kenya and met a large group of Kenyan school children, and she was blown away by how, with the passion and the excitement that they reacted to books and stories and storytelling. But she also knew that when her little program was over, those kids would go home and not have books to read or many education opportunities in their future. So she founded LitWorld, which is still extremely active in bringing literacy to those corners of the world where it just isn't thriving on its own. So Ben was so excited and so inspired by what Pam was doing and what her people were accomplishing in Kenya that he wanted to find a way to do his part for literacy in that part of the world. He started to study the obstacles facing education in Kenya and found out that many Kenyan families were using dim, dirty, and very dangerous kerosene lamps for evening light. Now, those lamps would pose several problems. First of all, it's easy to knock one over. And when these villages are as small as they are, with the huts and houses as close as they are, you start a fire in one home, it could quickly spread throughout the entire village. What do you fight a fire with? Water. What do these villages lack? Water. So again, it's very dangerous. Also, you have the health problems that are sometimes associated with kerosene in a very tight space. Kerosene puts off fumes that make asthma and pneumonia much worse. They can cause even more serious respiratory ailments. And then you also have the issue of economics. Kerosene costs money. So many of these Kenyan families already can't afford to feed their children as it is, especially when precious food money is going to kerosene. And without good light, the families can't work late, and the children can't study in the evening hours. So Ben came up with an idea to provide solar-powered LED lamps to distribute to these families. And in 2009, he founded the organization called Lit Solar, LIT Solar.org. Through various fundraisers, various grants, Ben and his team of fellow teenagers developed and distributed solar lanterns that provide safe, bright, clean light to families and schools. These lanterns increase the amount of time in a day that a child can study and read. And the lanterns are also very cost effective. They cost between $7 and $10 per lantern. And the cool thing is that the business model is sustainable, because these families who receive the lamps put aside a portion of what they would have spent on kerosene, and that money goes into a fund that allows other families in their communities and villages to afford their own lanterns. So the families that have been helped are also able to help others and to give back. And it's just this incredible sustainable model that Ben has put together that allows these families to share and use these lanterns. His latest fundraiser is currently sitting at $40,000, which will allow him to purchase and distribute more lanterns that will provide more literacy and more opportunity for children who otherwise might never have had either of those things. I've got a couple of really great quotes from Ben from an article that was in thejewishweek.com by Sandy Berwarski. She talked to Ben about one of his trips to Kenya, and he said it was an amazing experience to see what a difference the lanterns had made. It was also humbling with so many people we have yet to reach. The enormity of the situation really hit me. He talked to one woman whose solar lantern had been a huge boon to her sewing business. She was able to sew later into the evening, make more money to support her family, and in addition to that, her children, their grades improved because they were able to read and study later into the evening, and they were also no longer catching pneumonia and passing that back and forth. He was told at that point that being around those kerosene lanterns in such tight spaces was the equivalent of smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Ben says that one of the happiest moments in my life was to hear how the lanterns, a $7 piece of technology, could make such a difference. And it's just an incredibly awesome story that shows what can happen when you have an idea and you follow through with it and you get it done. Ben says, to summarize, you have to find something that you are passionate about. Find others who are passionate about the same things. You don't have to reinvent the wheel at first, but find good partners. That will help you magnify whatever contribution you can make. And I think that sentiment goes along very well with Adrian's idea of the Peace Fund being kind of a hub for different charities that we've encountered to share their ideas and work together to help even more children. So Ben Hirschfeld for creating Lit Solar. You are our Peace Fund Radio Hero of the Week. And Ben is currently a student at Columbia University, currently learning things that will allow him to reach and help even more children. So Ben, thank you very much for all the incredible work that you're doing.
Much deserved.
Much
Yes.
deserved, yes. Thank you, Ben, for doing all of that, because I think solar lanterns is such a simple idea, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we've had lots of Heroes of the Week who have used solar power in Kenya. We had Tatiana Grossman from spreadthewords.us who put together solar-powered projectors to display books and other learning materials for children. We had Adele Taylor, who called into our show for an interview. She works from Adele's literacylibrary.org. She put together a solar-powered learning center with computer kiosks that were powered by the sun in Kenya. So these are all instances of kids being told that their ideas would not work because there was no electricity, but they were like, well, they've got the sun in Kenya, so we'll harness that. And they did. And you get these success stories like this that are changing the lives of families and children for the better.
Indeed.
Well, thank you, John, for that. And thank you to all your heroes of the week, especially Ben, who is our current hero of the week on Peace Fund Radio. We are going to be wrapping up in a second because, as always happens, even though we think we have nothing to talk about, we end up being an hour and realizing the show is at the end. But yes, John, next week, I might not be on the show next week. I'm not sure. I might need a substitute. I may be working, or I'll be actually coming to you from the set itself. I'm actually doing a film here this week, which is it's a dark subject matter. It's exorcism. So I've been looking at a lot of facts. I've been actually reading and actually listening to excerpts of a real exorcism of a woman called Annalise Michel back in. She was died in Germany in 1976, and she was possessed by 6 demons. And this horror.
Only 6.
Huh? It's horrific. So anyway, I'm the. This is a slightly different type of thing that I've ever done before. So.
You need to read up, Adrian, on a case in Gary, Indiana that happened earlier this year where a priest, 2 police officers, including the chief of police, a registered nurse, and a registered social worker all witnessed insane supernatural activity at a house in Gary, Indiana. Google that story. It will blow your mind. And I quickly wanted to throw in, too, everybody, if you're shopping on Amazon.com this holiday season, go to smile.amazon.com, select the Peace Fund, and a portion of everything you purchase through Amazon will be given to the Peace Fund this holiday season and any season.
Yes, thank you for that, John, because, obviously we do need everybody's help. A little goes a very, very long way, especially as you can see some of the support, some of the organizations we support. Some things actually don't cost very much to actually help the life of a child or improve their education or their well-being. John, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, everybody who came out to the Peace Fund Games on the weekend and for supporting us online as well. Your donations were very much appreciated. Thank you to the Species family for making this show possible. And in closing, a quote from Byron Garrett. Being a man or a woman is a matter of birth. Being a man or a woman who makes a difference is a matter of choice. This is Adrian Paul and Ethan Dettenmaier. We'll talk to you next week.
You're listening to Peace Fund Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.